Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, November 28th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Life. Happy Monday. I hope that everyone enjoyed time with their family this weekend, talking about what they're grateful for, watching a lot of football, acknowledging that the holiday that we used to celebrate on this weekend was a colonizer holiday. I hope everybody had a good time and is ready to get back in it. So there's that. I want to talk about guns today. If you know me, you know that talking about guns is not a thing that I revel in. I am not anti-gun. I am pro responsible gun usage, responsible gun laws, reasonable gun laws. That's where I live. That's where I live. So I want to talk about guns today. In light of what happened last week. Last week, we had two notable mass shootings that made the news. We had a whole host there were 37 lives lost to mass shooting deaths last week. 37. We heard about some of them with the Club Q shooting in Colorado and the Walmart shooting in Virginia, but there were other mass shootings last week. It's become commonplace. And part of me said, hey, why am I talking about this? Because I don't like talking about guns. But we have to talk about it. We have to face it, and we have to own that it is a real issue because it is becoming commonplace. And I think that if we don't talk about it, we are subject to becoming numb. So I want to talk about it as it relates to Oklahoma. You know, right here, 2 miles from my house, 2.5 miles from my house, we had a mass shooting this summer at St. Francis. Now, that shooter had a specific target and crazy reason why he was at the doctor's office on a hospital complex. But right here in Oklahoma, we had a notable mass shooting. And so that hit home. And that happened and then within 2 or 3 days of that, we had another mass shooting in Taft, Oklahoma. So mass shootings are not something that is anathema to Oklahoma. They happen right here. 2022 so far is on target of being the second highest year for mass shootings in our history since we started recording mass shootings by the new definition. The second highest year. So far to date, as of today on November 28th, we've had 607 mass shootings. 607 gun deaths in Oklahoma. I don't want to talk about 607 gun deaths in Oklahoma. That's not right. Mass shootings is right. 607 mass shootings. Mass shootings is just where you hit four people or more. 607 in this calendar year. Last year in 2021, which was the highest year on record, we had 690 mass shootings. It's crazy. In 2020, and when you think about 2020 and half of the year was spent in COVID lockdown, we still had 610. That's too many. That's too many. It's a crazy number, but that's where we are. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because the next legislative session for Oklahoma starts in February of 2023. But our legislators, our newly elected and our incumbent legislators are right now in the process of deciding what bills they're going to put up. What bills are they're going to put up for consideration to turn into laws. One such legislator has turned in 2 bills already that are gun related. The first 2 bills that have been turned in for the legislative session that happens 8 weeks from now was, one, making sure that 18-year-olds, lowering the age from 21 to 18 for people to be able to purchase assault rifles from 21 to 18. We want to make sure that happens. And then the second bill was to make sure that Oklahoma stays a gun sanctuary state. Both of those bills were introduced after the Club Q shooting in Colorado Springs. So while all the news was going on about that notable mass shooting, an Oklahoma legislator decided, oh my gosh, they're going to hear this and somebody's going to come for our guns, and we need to lock it down and make sure that Oklahoma is a gun sanctuary state. It's shameful that an elected official thinks along those lines, that instead of taking a second and mourning yet another senseless shooting and senseless loss of life, his first instinct was to make sure that more Oklahomans can buy guns and more Oklahomans can, I don't know, keep guns, and we can invite other folks with their guns here, because that's what we need. Instead of putting out a word about the loss of life, I mean, there wasn't even a wasted thoughts and prayers in this instance. His first instinct was to submit a bill to make sure that more people can buy guns and that more people feel safe owning guns in Oklahoma. Because there just aren't enough guns here. So far to date, we've had 826 gun-related deaths in Oklahoma. Now, I'm sure it's not completely up to date because I keep getting these flashes. You've heard my computer going off. I keep getting flashes that people are being shot today. So my numbers aren't completely up to date, but as of this morning, it was 826. That's more deaths than people who overdose in Oklahoma. Now, here's a scary statistic. 60% of adults that are who manage to commit suicide use a gun. So a lot of the deaths, the gun deaths that happen in Oklahoma or that happen in the United States, are suicides. So this isn't about a good guy with a gun. This isn't about we're trying to take your gun. This is about community safety. It's not just about the folks who are going out and shooting other people, but it's the folks who have access to a firearm in their lowest moment. Why am I talking about this when I'm supposed to be talking about politics? Because we're all aware of this, that House Bill 781 was passed that said some of the money that we were making from the legalization of medical marijuana was supposed to go to set up more services for for people to get mental health care. And then we found out 3 weeks ago, that not one dime has been moved over there for that kind of funding. Mental health care. 60% of adults who commit suicide do so with a firearm. Even if it's temporary, those are people who could benefit from mental health care, and we're not doing anything about it. I mention this because I think that we have a problem with our legislative priorities. That's what all of this says, is that we have a problem with our legislative priorities. I was talking to Representative Provenzano about a year ago about the bills that she puts forth. And she says that all of her bills are things that people in her district, while she's having in-district meetings and talking to people, all of her bills are because someone in her district said, could you put in a bill about this? I think it would be great law if we did this. That's how bills are supposed to be, how bills are supposed to be submitted. We elect folks so that they represent the folks that are in their district and represent the state. Thank you, Representative Fugate. And there are some elected folks who are not taking this into account. They are going away to Republican legislating cap. They're getting these bills that are handed to them that says these are good bills. These will get people talking about you. And those are the bills that they're running in Oklahoma, whether it's for our good or not, whether it helps us or not, whether it addresses issues that face Oklahomans or not. What we need to do, what I'm asking you all to do, is to go out and look up the legislative phone number, the phone number for your legislator, the email address for your legislator, and let them know how you feel about making sure that more Oklahomans and younger Oklahomans have access to guns. Needs to be the first priority for our legislative session. Just let them know. You don't have to say what I'm saying. Let them know how you feel about it. While education is being defunded, while not everyone has affordable access to healthcare, while our roads and bridges are crumbling, while more than 20% of Oklahomans don't have reliable access to broadband. Our first bills are about guns. Doesn't feel like our legislative priorities are where they need to be, but that's just what I think. I'm going to ask you, go out, because some of you got new legislators. Go out, look up your legislator's office phone number and email address, and let them know how you feel about their legislative priorities. And since you're listening, Representative Fugate, I want to say thank you. Thank you for continuing to push the issue on funding State Question 781. We need that funding. Obviously, we need that funding. So also when you're writing your legislator, thank them for the work they're doing. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me, and I'll be back here tomorrow at 4:15. You guys have a great evening.